Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. After many weeks and even in some cases months of wondering where we're going to be in 2019 and the future for Elite Dangerous, Frontier have finally provided a community update on where Elite Dangerous is heading. Now there's some okay news here, and there's some news that's not so good, and there's some news that, given time, is probably going to be very, very good. So ultimately this depends on your perspective and how long you're willing to wait or happy to wait for the next big content drop. So let's get to it. Frontier then posted a content update on the official forums today, and it's broken down into 4 sections, or perhaps 5 if you include the section about Beyond. And without beating around the bush, let's get straight to the most important bit, the part everyone's going to want to know about. What is the next big update for Elite Dangerous? Well, Frontier don't tell us. They tell us it's going to be the next big milestone. They say it's a significant update and the biggest they've ever released for the game. However, the bad news is it's not coming until the later half of 2020. That means right from today it's likely going to be at least 18 months until we see anything content related in terms of a big paid update. Personally, I'm really surprised about this. I was honestly expecting to see something in 2019 like many people. Whilst Frontier have never actually come out right and said this, it has largely been the expectation of the player base. But it basically means that what we've got right now with Chapter 4 is it, at least until the next big update. But that said, it's not a case that there's no updates at all. There are going to be some updates, and this is what Frontier talk about in the other section of the community update. And we will come back to the main update in just a moment, but let's go on and talk about everything else before we come back to that. So Frontier are going to continue this year with what they call development supported events. So what are these? Well, essentially, this is from a Frontier's post. Let's read what they have to say here. One of the biggest changes will be the way that we create and support in-game events and activities. Starting in the coming months, we will be looking to change the way the in-game events happen. The aim here is to create ongoing, engaging and varied sets of content that are supported by the development team, which players will be able to actively engage in. Now they go on to say that they're going to slowly move away from community goals, or at least allow community goals to support these upcoming changes in events, these different types of events. Now Frontier are also very vague about what these events are. They just say that they want them to be development-led events that help them create improved, meaningful and engaging experiences, whatever that's supposed to mean. They also say outside of the game will communicate with you about these events, how they work and what goes into developing Elite Dangerous. So we don't really know exactly what that means. All we do know is that these events will take advantage of in-game mechanics such as the scenarios, reputation, reward boosts. They say here such as superpower reputation increases. So it may be like an XP boost increase you get for certain weekends in other games. They also want to take advantage of the background simulation and global galactic changes and many other things besides. So yeah, there's that. Now there's also going to be regular updates. They say in addition to the weekly and monthly activity happening in Elite, we will also be releasing a series of updates roughly every 3 to 4 months. So the first of these 2 updates will be primarily focused on the new player and welcoming experiences. So every 3 to 4 months, that would take us up to 6 months, which pretty much brings us up to September, I guess, or maybe toward the end of the year. So essentially the next 2 updates that we're going to receive this year will be focusing on new players as well as the game's welcoming experience. So very little for existing players in many respects, as they're going to be heavily focused for new players. But that said, they also talk about quality of life updates and quality of life improvements, and there's going to be a whole bunch of these right across the game. But now the point here that I would underscore, and that they don't really underscore themselves, is that these upcoming updates are not going to be as large as the ones found in Horizons or the Beyond season. Essentially what this means then is that these updates are going to be pretty small, at least that's how I read it. So all in all, in terms of what's here coming for 2019, it seems a pretty unimpressive lineup. Personally, I think there is some good news we can take away from it, and that is that the player base has been, at least up until relatively recently, very large. Chapter 4 has brought in some huge player numbers. We also know from the Frontier financials that they plan on keeping Elite Dangerous development active at least until 2022, so this isn't the end of the game by any means. And it's also worth pointing out that Frontier have said themselves, and we've noticed ourselves as well, that the player base has been very active over the previous months, at least until very recently. In fact, Elite Dangerous has had some of the highest player numbers ever. So in terms of where Elite Dangerous is right now, both in the cases of what the game's like as well as a player base, it seems pretty healthy. Yet Chapter 4 did bring with it a lot of bugs. The fortunate thing is that those bugs are slowly being fixed. There was a patch going out today fixing many of the background simulation aspects. But very little of that is going to alleviate the disappointment many people are likely to be feeling right now with the news that there's no massive content updates coming in 2019 whatsoever. In fact, there was no hint, no mention whatsoever on the speculated mission packs. So with a relatively sparse 2019 coming up for Elite Dangerous and a probably relatively sparse early 2020, it falls to the end or the later half of 2020 to see where the game is going. Now again, Frontier were very vague on this. They said that literally they've got nothing to announce right now and they won't have anything to announce for a while on this. But what they did say is that having a development team dedicated to this update, to this milestone, is their continued and unwavering commitment to making Elite Dangerous the most authentic, ambitious and expansive evolving space sim in the world. So there we have it then, a community update on Elite Dangerous from Frontier. It's good, I guess, that they've gone out their way to release this information, but ultimately it's not the information that many of us were hoping for or expecting. Do let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.